All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on something we all feel but can't always name: invisible workloads. We're talking about that mental effort that never shows up on a timesheet but is often the real reason we feel so burned out. And we're going to tackle a huge and honestly pretty damaging misunderstanding about what work actually looks like. So let's just dive right in with a question I'm sure you've heard. Maybe you've even said it yourself. Is working from home really working less? Now, on the surface, it seems like a simple question with the simple answer. But the reality? Oh, it's so much more complex than just where your laptop happens to be. To really get our heads around this, let's zoom in on a story. It's about a mother who makes this massive career shift, a choice that, from the outside, looks one way, but when you look under the hood, it reveals something completely different. Okay, so here's the setup. After a solid decade grinding it out in a demanding corporate job, she decides to go out on her own and launch her own business from home. And the motivation is a big one. She wants to be more present for her young daughter. So let's be clear, this isn't a step back. This is a strategic pivot by someone who is incredibly capable. Okay, so that's her reality. But how do other people see it? Well, that's where we get into this black and white view of things, that surface-level judgment that completely misses all the hidden complexity.
And this is the kind of thing she hears when she dares to say she's exhausted. How can you be burned out? You get to work in your living room and be with your kid, right? It's a comment that just assumes that flexibility equals easy and that being present is the same as being relaxed.
And that right there is the heart of the paradox, isn't it? The assumption is that she has unlimited flexibility or relaxed schedule, that she's on the easy path. But the reality? It's deep exhaustion, constant overload, and invisible struggle. So what in the world is actually going on here? To figure this out, we have to become architects. We need to map out the invisible architecture of her day. Think of it like we're running a diagnostic on the unseen cognitive load she's carrying, all that mental work that doesn't just clock in and clock out. And the main culprit, the core piece of this invisible architecture, has a name. It's called context switching. It's that mental leap you have to make when you stop doing one thing and have to completely fire up your brain for another, totally unrelated thing. And listen, every single one of those switches has a cost. It literally drains your mental battery. Just look at this blueprint of her day. This is not some neat to-do list. It is a constant, whiplash-inducing jump between high-stakes professional mode, drafting a client proposal, and high-stakes domestic mode, mediating a toddler tantrum. Each one of these is a hard mental pivot. Here's maybe the best way to picture what's happening. Think of her brain like a computer. She's not just running one program. She's trying to run two completely different massive operating systems at the exact same time. On one track, you've got OS1, the entrepreneur. That thing needs all the processing power it can get for deep focus, strategic planning, client management. But at the same time, she's got OS2, the parent, running, which demands constant awareness, emotional regulation, logistics. Each one is a full-time job for the brain. And here's the kicker, the absolute game changer. There are 0 transition periods. There's no commute home to decompress. There's no lunch break to reset your brain. She literally closes her laptop after a tense client call, and in that same second has to pivot to being a gentle, nurturing caregiver. So what happens when you do this to a computer or to a brain? The result is what we call CPU throttling. Her brain is like a machine running way too many heavy programs at once. It never, ever gets a chance to cool down. It's just perpetually overtaxed. This exhaustion isn't from a lack of effort, it's from sustained, intense cognitive overload. And once you see this, once you see the architecture, it kind of changes everything, doesn't it? It lets us move past that quick black and white judgment and into a place where we can actually have some real empathy and maybe even offer some support. So let's break down what this really tells us. First off, this deep exhaustion isn't a personal failing. It's the only logical outcome of that kind of mental workload. When we measure work only by office hours, we make all this crucial labor completely invisible. But when we recognize the architecture, when we finally see the context switching, that's how we build real empathy. And that understanding is what lets us move from judging the symptom, the burnout, to offering actual structural support for the real problem. And really, this brings it all back home, to us. This isn't just about working from home or about being a parent. It's about all the unseen work we do, all the mental gears that are grinding away beneath the surface. So it leaves us with one last question to think about. What invisible architecture are you overlooking in your own life or in the lives of the people you care about?